Blood streamed from my head, staining the marble floor crimson. Sophia stood on the staircase, her hand resting on her slightly protruding belly, her eyes devoid of any guilt. Sorry, Jack, but Brad was right. We need that insurance money. Was this how my life would end? At 27, before I could even react, my body lost all weight. That falling sensation, like plummeting into an endless abyss. I remember every detail of that night. The crystal chandelier in the living room, the dim light illuminating Sophia in my favorite white dress. She was pregnant, but the child wasn't mine. When I discovered her affair with my best friend Brad through their text messages, my heart felt like it was being torn apart. Why would you do this to me? I had asked her then. Because you're too kind, Jack. Kind people don't succeed in this world. Her answer left me utterly devastated. Then came that fatal push. My body tumbled down the stairs, my head striking the marble floor with a sickening thud. As consciousness faded, I heard her tell Brad on the phone, "It's done. We can collect the insurance tomorrow. So this is what death feels like." But wait. The acrid smell of chemicals filled my nostrils. "Mr. Thompson, please answer my question." Mr. Smith's stern voice echoed through the classroom. I jerked my head up to see the familiar chemistry lab. This was Santa Monica High School? I looked at my hands, young skin, no trace of a wedding ring. High school senior chemistry textbooks lay on my desk, the date showing October 2015. I was reborn? Back to 17? Everything in the classroom was so familiar, including Sophia sitting to my right front. She turned to give me that sweet smile, just like when we first met in my previous life. Those brown eyes still held no calculation, only youthful innocence. But I knew it was all an illusion. "Jack, what's wrong with you? You look like you've seen a ghost." Brad patted my shoulder from behind. Looking at this friend I once trusted most, rage surged through me. This was the guy who ruined my life. But now nothing had begun yet. I still had a chance to change my fate. Nothing, just thinking about some things. I forced myself to stay calm. The greatest advantage of being reborn was knowing the future. I knew what would happen next. I knew who was genuine and who was fake. This time, I would never be anyone's backup again. After class, I sat alone on a campus bench, my mind replaying scenes from my previous life. Why hadn't I seen through their true nature before? Looking back now, the clues had always been there. I remembered that during senior year, Brad's grades suddenly improved dramatically. At the time, I naively thought it was because my tutoring was working. Every night, the three of us studied late in the library. I helped Brad with math and physics while Sophia handled English literature. During those nights, I was always focused on solving problems, completely oblivious to the glances they exchanged. "Jack, you're really amazing. I spent all night trying to figure out this problem." Brad used to praise me like that, his eyes full of admiration. I was intoxicated by this worship, never questioning his motives. Now I realize his approach to me was never pure from the start. He needed my help to improve his grades while coveting my girlfriend. Sophia was the same. During our 2 years together, we seemed like the perfect high school couple on the surface. Whenever we walked hand in hand down the hallway, other students looked at us with envy. She was the cheerleading captain, I was student body vice president. We were voted best couple, our photo even featured in the school newspaper. But looking back now, she never truly loved me. Whenever I mentioned future plans, she would deflect. "Jack, we're still young. We don't need to think that far ahead." That was her catchphrase. At the time, I thought she just didn't want to pressure herself. But in reality, she never considered me someone she could spend her life with. I was just an accessory during her high school years, a prop that made her look good in front of classmates. After college graduation, we had a grand wedding. Sophia looked like an angel in her wedding dress. I thought I was the happiest man in the world then. The first 2 years of marriage were indeed good. I worked as a reporter for a media company. Sophia was a designer at an advertising agency. We bought a small house in the Los Angeles suburbs and adopted a golden retriever. Life was peaceful and beautiful. But everything changed in the 3rd year. Sophia began working late frequently, coming home later and later. Her phone got a password, and she received messages late at night. It's urgent revision requests from clients. That was always her explanation. I chose to believe her then because I had never doubted her loyalty. Looking back now, I was truly naive. Brad reappeared in our lives during the 4th year. He said his business had failed and needed somewhere to stay temporarily. Kind-hearted me naturally chose to help this old friend. I even let him stay in our guest room. I personally put the horns on my own head. During that time, Sophia became even more beautiful and charming. She started paying more attention to her appearance, buying many new clothes. I thought it was because she was in a good mood, our life was stable. In reality, she was dressing up for another man. The day I discovered the truth, my world completely collapsed. I'll never forget how it felt seeing those text messages. The pain of being betrayed by the people you trust most is more cruel than death. But now I had a chance to start over. This time I wouldn't let them succeed. The next morning I made a decision. I would actively break up this false triangle. At school, I walked straight to the library. Sophia and Brad were already there waiting for me. Jack, perfect timing. We were just discussing tonight's study plan. Sophia's sweet voice echoed in the empty library, but I could no longer hear any sincerity in it. I'm sorry, but I'm quitting our study group. My words left them both stunned. Brad was first to react. What? Why? Haven't we been working well together? Looking at the fake confusion on his face, I felt sick, because I feel this study method isn't efficient for me. But Jack, Sophia approached, reaching to grab my arm. We're a team. I stepped back, avoiding her touch. This was the first time I had rejected her closeness. A team? I smiled. A real team should help each other mutually, not have one-sided contributions. That made my point clear. I had been helping Brad study, but what had he ever done for me? Besides eating my food, using my resources, and eyeing my girlfriend. Jack, what do you mean by that? Brad's tone became somewhat displeased. Nothing special. I just think everyone should be responsible for their own studies. I packed up my books, preparing to leave. Wait, Sophia's voice became sharp. Jack, is something bothering you lately? You seem so strange. I turned around, looking at her seriously. In that moment, I suddenly remembered what she had said in my previous life. Kind people don't succeed in this world. Maybe I have changed, I said. I've decided not to be so kind anymore. During lunch, I actively sought out Sophia. She was sitting with several cheerleader friends. Sophia, I want to talk to you. Sure. She stood up, still wearing that sweet smile. What about? We walked to a relatively quiet corner. Let's break up. My words hit like a bomb, instantly freezing her smile. What? Jack, are you joking? I'm serious. I don't think we're compatible. Tears began gathering in her eyes. Why? Aren't we good together? Did someone say something to you? This performance, if I didn't know the truth, I might have actually softened. No one said anything. This is my own decision. But we've been together for almost 2 years. Her voice started choking. Jack, if I did something wrong, I can change. Students around us began looking our way. Santa Monica High's star couple breaking up was definitely explosive news. You didn't do anything wrong, I said. We're just not right for each other. She suddenly grabbed my arm. No, I don't agree to break up. Jack, you can't do this to me. Her true nature was beginning to show. I had never seen her lose control like this before. I'm sorry, but that's not for you to decide. I gently freed myself from her grip. You'll regret this, she almost shouted. Jack Thompson, you'll regret today's decision. The entire cafeteria fell quiet, everyone staring at us. But I felt an unprecedented sense of relief. In my previous life, I had endured too many grievances to maintain the so-called perfect relationship. Now I could finally be my true self again. From today on, I would no longer be anyone's backup. News of the breakup quickly spread throughout the school. Walking down the hallways, I could feel various looks from other students. Some sympathetic, some curious, some schadenfreude. But I didn't care. I had more important things to do. That afternoon, I went to the academic advisor's office. Thompson, you want to transfer into AP courses? Mrs. Johnson looked at my application form with surprise. Yes, I want to challenge myself. But we're already in the 2nd semester. Are you sure you can keep up? I nodded. I'll work hard. In my previous life, I had missed many opportunities to improve myself because I was busy tutoring Brad. This time, I would invest all my energy in myself. The next day, I walked into the AP English Literature classroom for the first time. The atmosphere here was completely different from regular classes. Students focused intently on discussing Shakespeare's works, no one playing on phones or chatting. Everyone, we have a new student joining us today. After Mrs. Peterson introduced me, she gestured for me to find a seat. I chose an empty seat in the back row. Just as I sat down, the girl in front turned around. Those were the most beautiful eyes I had ever seen. Deep blue, clear as the ocean. "You're Jack Thompson, right?" Her voice was soft but full of strength. "You know me? The whole school is talking about your breakup with Sofia Rodriguez." Her words were direct, no beating around the bush. "What do you think?" I asked. She smiled, and that smile lit up the entire classroom. "I think you made a wise decision." This was my first meeting with Emma Wilson. Although we had been at the same school for over 2 years, this was our first conversation. In my previous life, I had been completely occupied by Sofia, never noticing other girls. Now I realized what I had missed. Emma wasn't flashy beautiful like Sofia. Her beauty was more reserved, more profound. She was debate team captain, student council secretary, and editor-in-chief of the school newspaper. First in the grade, the perfect student in every teacher's eyes. But she never showed off, never changed herself to please anyone. After class, she actively approached me. "Jack, I heard you're trying out for the debate team this Friday?" I nodded. This was another decision I made after being reborn. In my previous life, I had missed the debate team opportunity because I had to watch Sofia's cheerleading practice. "How's your preparation going?" "Pretty good," I said, though it's my first time participating in this kind of activity. She looked at me with a light in her eyes I couldn't read. "Want a partner?" This suggestion surprised me. Emma Wilson, the school's recognized debate genius, was actively inviting me to be her partner? "Are you sure? I might drag you down." "I never do things I'm not confident about," she said. "I observed you in class all day. Your thinking is sharp, your logic clear, you just lack some technique. Then why choose me?" She paused, then said, "Because I've been waiting for an opponent worthy of me." Those words made my heart race. Not because of her beauty, but because of her confidence and intelligence. This feeling was completely different from what Sofia gave me. Sofia's beauty was superficial, shallow. Emma's beauty radiated from within. It was beauty of the soul. "All right," I said. "Let's try it together." She extended her hand. "Looking forward to working with you, Jack." Shaking her hand, I felt an unprecedented strength. This time, I would fight alongside someone truly worthy. During those days preparing for debate with Emma, I gradually discovered another side of her. She appeared gentle on the surface but actually had extremely keen observation skills. "Jack, I notice you're often distracted lately," she said in the library. "Is there something important on your mind?" I was indeed distracted. I was thinking about Mr. Smith's problem. This chemistry teacher was harsh toward students and obviously favored Brad. Years after graduation in my previous life, I accidentally learned from a classmate that Mr. Smith had been investigated for academic misconduct. Combined with his special treatment of Brad, I suspected there was some benefit exchange between them. This time, I would actively investigate the truth. "There are indeed some things to handle," I told Emma, "but don't worry, it won't affect our debate preparation." She looked at me with that penetrating gaze. "If you need help, you can tell me. I might be more useful than you think." Those words gave me inspiration. Maybe I didn't need to face Smith alone. Emma's intelligence and connections might be exactly what I needed. The next day in chemistry class, Mr. Smith started his old routine again. "Thompson, since you're unwilling to continue tutoring Miller, I'm assigning you as his study partner. This isn't an assignment, it's mandatory." His tone carried obvious threat. I knew this was pressure from Mr. Miller. They were worried that without my help, Brad's grades would slip, affecting their cooperation. "Teacher, I think every student should be responsible for their own learning." My response made Smith's face ugly. "Mr. Thompson, are you questioning my teaching arrangements?" "I'm just expressing my viewpoint." "Then your viewpoint is wrong." He slammed the table hard. "You must comply with the school's arrangements." After class, I deliberately stayed in the classroom organizing notes. Sure enough, Smith soon received a phone call. "Mr. Miller, yes, I'm handling this problem." Thinking the classroom was empty, he spoke without restraint. "Don't worry, I'll make that kid obey." "Yes, I've received the new order. I can get it through the school purchasing department next week." I secretly recorded this conversation. But audio alone wasn't enough. I needed more concrete evidence. That evening, I shared this idea with Emma. After listening, she pondered for a long time. Are you certain Mr. Smith is really taking bribes? I'm 100% certain. What's your plan? I played the recording on my phone. After listening, anger flashed in Emma's eyes. Scum like that definitely deserves punishment. But I need more evidence. She nodded. I have an idea. Do you know the student council has the right to review the school's purchasing records? I actually didn't know that. We can apply to review recent sporting goods purchase records. If we find anomalies, we can confirm your suspicions. Emma's plan was thorough. Using her position as student council secretary, she legally obtained the school's purchasing information. Sure enough, we discovered numerous suspicious transactions. Over the past year, the school had purchased tens of thousands of dollars worth of sporting goods from Mr. Miller's company. But these supplies were obviously below standard quality while priced exorbitantly. Now we need to catch them red-handed, Emma said. Any ideas? We need to observe for a while, wait for the right opportunity. After several days of observation, we discovered Mr. Miller would regularly visit the school, ostensibly for inspections. Then we'll act that day. The flame of justice burned in Emma's eyes. Fighting alongside her felt more exciting than any moment I'd spent with Sophia. Tuesday afternoon, everything went according to plan. Mr. Miller appeared at school as scheduled, dressed in a suit, looking like a successful businessman. But I knew his success was built on deception and corruption. He first went to the principal's office for a routine friendly visit. Then he would go to Smith's office for the real transaction. Emma and I divided the work. She was responsible for monitoring outside Smith's office. I waited in the campus broadcast room. Our plan was to record their conversation, then broadcast it through the school's PA system. That way, the entire school would hear their crimes. At 3 p.m., Mr. Miller appeared punctually at the chemistry building. Emma told me through the walkie-talkie, target entering, begin recording. Smith's office window was open. We could clearly hear the conversation inside. Smith, did you receive this shipment? Of course, the quality is the same as last time. Satisfactory. Smith's voice was somewhat nervous. Obviously, this kind of conversation made him uncomfortable. Good, here's your share. I heard the rustling of a paper bag. Miller must be handing over money. Also, about my son Brad's grades. Don't worry, his chemistry grade will definitely be fine. Even if he doesn't do well on the final exam, I'll adjust it. That's good. After all, he needs to apply to good colleges, can't have any blemishes on his transcript. This conversation was enough to prove their crimes. I signaled Emma to act. She quietly walked to the broadcast room, using student council privileges to access the system. Students, here's a recording everyone needs to hear. Emma's voice carried throughout the entire campus via loudspeaker. Then Smith and Miller's conversation began playing. The entire school instantly fell silent. Everyone stopped what they were doing, listening carefully to this shocking content. Smith, did you receive this shipment? Of course, the quality is the same as last time. Satisfactory. When these words broadcast, I saw chaos in Smith's office. Mr. Miller's face went pale. Smith was so scared he collapsed in his chair. But the recording wasn't over. Also, about my son Brad's grades, don't worry, his chemistry grade will definitely be fine. Even if he doesn't do well on the final exam, I'll adjust it. Brad was training at the athletic field at the time. When he heard this, his face instantly turned red. His teammates all looked at him strangely. So this was how he got his good grades. After the recording finished playing, the entire campus exploded. Students began discussing animatedly, some taking out phones to record videos. Soon, this incident spread online. Hashtag Santa Monica High Corruption Case quickly became a Twitter trending topic. Local news media also began paying attention to the event. Smith tried to escape from his office, but students and parents had already gathered at the school gates. Mr. Miller's situation was even worse. His company was quickly targeted by the FBI. It turned out fake sporting goods was just the tip of the iceberg of their illegal activities. The next day's newspaper headline read, "High school teacher takes bribes. Businessman father buys son's grades." Smith was immediately suspended, awaiting further investigation. Brad was also expelled from school for grade fraud. The Miller family, under enormous social pressure, had to move away from Los Angeles. Watching all this unfold, I felt unprecedented satisfaction. Justice had been served, bad people got their deserved punishment. More importantly, I had proven that I was no longer that weak, easily bullied person. Emma walked to my side, her eyes full of admiration. "Jack, you're really amazing. We accomplished this together." "No," she shook her head, "you gave me this opportunity to fight for justice." In that moment, I realized I had fallen in love with this brave, intelligent girl. Not because of her beauty, but because of her character. After the Smith incident, my status at school underwent fundamental change. Before, everyone just saw me as Sophia's boyfriend. Now, they began truly paying attention to me as a person. "Jack, how did you discover Mr. Smith's problems? Why did you have the courage to expose him? Weren't you worried about retaliation?" Facing these questions, I simply said calmly, "Doing the right thing needs no reason." But the real changes were yet to come. Free from Sophia and Brad's burden, I could invest all my energy in studying. I signed up for every AP course I could take, also joining debate team, Model UN, and other clubs. Knowledge and experience accumulated from my previous life made my studies twice as effective. More importantly, my mindset underwent fundamental change. Previously, I always compromised to please others. Now I only worked hard for my own dreams. My first practice SAT results came out 1,580 out of 1,600. This score shocked everyone. Even Emma looked at me incredulously. "Jack, are you sure this is your first time taking it?" "It really is my first time." I wasn't lying, at least in this timeline it was my first time. This score made everyone look at me with new respect, teachers all expressing willingness to write recommendation letters for me. But the biggest change was in debate team. Emma and I as partners swept through the state debate competition. She handled logical analysis, I handled evidence collection. Our coordination became increasingly seamless, almost telepathic. The finals topic was, "Does technological progress exacerbate social inequality?" We drew the affirmative side. With my previous life's experience and Emma's wisdom, we successfully defeated the 3-time consecutive state champion team. Finally, we won the state debate championship. In that moment, Emma excitedly hugged me. After the competition, we received invitation letters from all the Ivy League schools. "Jack, where do you want to go?" Emma asked me. I didn't hesitate. "Stanford." "Why?" "Because it has the best journalism school, and I want to become a reporter." This was my unfulfilled dream from my previous life. Back then, I was crushed by realistic pressures and chose a stable but boring job. This time, I would pursue the career I truly loved. Emma smiled. "Then let's go to Stanford together." Together? I also applied to Stanford's pre-law program. In that moment, I realized we weren't just study partners, but life partners. The last few months of high school passed quickly. Emma and I both received Stanford acceptance letters, along with full scholarships. Other students' attitudes toward us changed from initial surprise to genuine admiration. But Sophia never gave up, often trying to reconcile with me. Each time, I clearly refused her requests. On prom night, the entire gymnasium was decorated magnificently. I wore a black tuxedo, Emma wore a blue gown. When we appeared, all eyes focused on us. This was the perfect ending to our high school life. "You look beautiful tonight," I told Emma. "You look handsome too." She smiled back. We danced in the center of the dance floor, everything around us seeming to disappear. "Jack," she whispered in my ear, "thank you for making my high school life so wonderful." "I should thank you, because you made me a better person." At the end of prom, Emma and I were crowned prom king and queen. When they placed the crowns on our heads, the entire venue erupted in warm applause. Walking out of the gymnasium, I looked back once. Here were all my high school memories, sweet and painful alike. But regardless, this experience had made me grow. Tomorrow, we would embark on a new journey. Stanford University, here I come. Stanford University's campus was even more beautiful than I had imagined. Golden California sunshine bathed the red-tiled, white-walled buildings, palm trees swaying gently in the breeze. This was the starting point of our new life. "Jack, do you think we can adapt to life here?" Emma stood beneath the dormitory building, watching students come and go. "Of course we can," I held her hand. "We overcame high school difficulties, what can't we do?" College life was completely different from high school. The courses were more in-depth, thinking more independent, competition more intense. But Emma and I both quickly adapted to this rhythm. I chose journalism as my major, with a minor in political science. Emma chose political science as her major, with a minor in law. We often studied together in the library until late at night, discussing academic issues. Jack, what role do you think news media should play in a democratic society? Monitor government, enlighten citizens, spread truth, I said. But the prerequisite is that media itself must maintain independence and objectivity. Then how do we ensure media independence? We had discussions like this almost every day. We challenged each other's viewpoints while learning from each other's thinking patterns. This intellectual collision made our relationship even deeper. In sophomore year, I joined the campus newspaper, the Stanford Daily. From initial intern reporter, to later senior reporter, to deputy editor in junior year. I reported on student protest activities, exposed campus sexual assault cases, and interviewed Nobel Prize winners. Every article reflected my love for journalism and pursuit of truth. Emma also excelled in the pre-law program. She not only achieved excellent grades but actively participated in various legal aid activities. She helped undocumented immigrants apply for asylum, provided legal consultation for domestic violence victims, and participated in a class action lawsuit involving environmental protection. In the second semester of junior year, we jointly participated in a campus investigation project. Some Stanford professors were accused of academic misconduct, and we decided to investigate this incident thoroughly. I was responsible for collecting evidence and interviewing parties involved. Emma handled legal aspects of the analysis. After months of investigation, we discovered an academic fraud network involving multiple professors. These professors cited each other's false research to fraudulently obtain research funding and academic reputation. Our investigation report was published on the front page of the Stanford Daily, immediately causing a sensation. The school board had to establish a special committee for investigation. Eventually, 3 professors were fired, 2 professors were demoted. This investigation not only maintained academic integrity but also earned us reputation in both journalism and legal circles. In senior year, I was selected as editor-in-chief of the Stanford Daily. This made me one of the youngest editors-in-chief in the paper's history. Emma was also accepted to Harvard Law School with top grades in her class. But she chose to defer enrollment for a year to complete undergraduate studies with me. Why not go directly to Harvard? I asked her. Because some things are more important than personal advancement, she said. I want to spend the last year of college with you. In that moment, I knew she was the person I wanted to spend my life with. On graduation day, we both received the highest academic honors. I was the outstanding graduate of the journalism school. She was the outstanding graduate of the political science school. When we walked down the graduation ceremony red carpet side by side, the audience erupted in warm applause. Over 4 years, we had not only achieved academic success but found each other on life's path. After the ceremony, we took commemorative photos in the campus rose garden. As the sun set, golden light bathed us. Emma, I knelt on one knee, taking out the ring I had prepared long ago. Will you marry me? Tears in her eyes, she nodded. Yes, I will. This was the happiest moment of my life. Not because of successful revenge, but because of true love's arrival. 5 years later, Los Angeles. I sat in my office at the Los Angeles Times, looking at the Pulitzer Prize trophy that had just arrived on my desk. This was the pinnacle moment of my career. I had won journalism's highest honor for my investigative reporting on California's water resource corruption case. That case involved dozens of government officials and corporate executives, affecting millions of people's lives. After 2 years of in-depth investigation, I exposed a massive network of benefit transfers. After the report was published, it attracted national attention. The FBI intervened. Over 20 people were prosecuted. The governor was forced to resign. More importantly, this investigation promoted comprehensive reform of California's water resource management laws. Millions of ordinary citizens benefited as a result. This was the kind of journalism I wanted. Not for fame and fortune, but for justice. A knock came at my office door, and Emma walked in. She was now the youngest judge on the Federal Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Getting this position at 29 was extremely rare in U.S. Judicial history. Congratulations, Pulitzer Prize winner, she said with a smile. Congratulations to you too, Your Honor. We embraced just like in our college days. I'm giving a speech at Santa Monica High this afternoon. Wanna come with me? I asked. Of course, I'd love to see what our alma mater looks like now. Driving towards Santa Monica, we passed a coffee shop. Through the car window, I saw a familiar figure. Sophia. She sat by the window drinking coffee alone. Time had left its marks on her face. She looked older than her actual age. I had Emma stop the car and walked into the coffee shop. Sophia? She looked up, surprise flashing in her eyes when she saw me. Jack, it's you. How have you been lately? She smiled bitterly. How do you think? Divorced twice. Now working as a designer for a small company. I nodded, saying nothing. I saw the news about your award, she said. Congratulations, you achieved your dream. Thank you. And Emma, I heard she became a federal judge. You two are really well matched. Her words held no jealousy, only deep regret. Jack, can I ask you a question? What question? If I hadn't betrayed you back then, would we have had a different ending? I thought for a moment, then answered seriously, no. Even without betrayal, we wouldn't have been happy, because we were pursuing fundamentally different things. She was silent for a long time, then said, you're right. We really weren't the same type of people. But that doesn't mean your life is a failure, I said. Everyone has their own path to walk. Thank you, Jack, she said. Knowing you was one of the few lucky things in my life. Leaving the coffee shop, I didn't look back. Some people, some things had all become the past. When we arrived at Santa Monica High School, the auditorium was already packed with students. These young faces were full of aspirations for the future, just like we had been. Students, I stood at the podium, looking at the students below. Today, I want to share a story with you. 10 years ago, I also sat where you're sitting now. Back then, I thought my life was already mapped out clearly. Get into a good college, find a stable job, get married, have children, live an ordinary life. But life taught me that real life isn't like that. Real life is full of choices, full of challenges, and full of possibilities. The key isn't what you encounter, but how you respond. When you face betrayal, you can choose revenge or forgiveness. When you face difficulties, you can choose to escape or confront them. When you face temptation, you can choose to compromise or stand firm. Every choice shapes your character and determines your destiny. So believe in yourself, persist in your dreams, make the right choices. Someday, I look forward to meeting you at life's peak. After the speech, thunderous applause erupted from the audience. I saw the light in the students' eyes, hope for the future and persistence in dreams. Walking out of the auditorium, Emma linked her arm with mine. Your speech was wonderful. Thank you. If you hadn't broken up with Sophia back then, we might never have been together. So sometimes endings are for better beginnings. As the sun set, we walked out of campus hand in hand. Behind us was our past. Ahead of us was our future. I hadn't wasted this life. I had proven in my own way what true success meant. Not accumulation of wealth, not climbing status, but inner satisfaction and freedom of the soul. I had found true love, realized my dreams, and brought some change to this world. That was enough. This was the life I wanted.